Hello everything! Welcome to our math vlogs. Tayo po ay magdi-discuss today about multiplication of decimals. Okay? Multiplication of decimals. We already know about multiplication. Multiplication is repeated addition when you add something over and over again until you meet the required number. Ano po? So, as usual, you can pause the video kapag di mo nagigets. You can rewind it, then paulit-ulit hanggang sa makuha mo. Okay, you can use it as a guide when you are answering multiplication problem na meron ka. Okay po. So, multiplying decimals is just like multiplying whole numbers. It's almost the same. The only different thing is in the last step where you will put the decimal point, where you will place the decimal point. Okay? So the best way to know that is to have an example. So for example, you have 8.46 times 5. Okay? So our first task, when you see a problem like this, is to put it in the vertical format para mas madali sa yung isolve. Okay? But remember that that multiplication is different from addition and subtraction of decimals. In addition and subtraction of decimals, dapat pantay yung decimal points nila. In the case of multiplication, you don't really care where the decimal points are at first. So okay lang na tratuhin mo siya bilang normal na multiplication. Let's see what you mean. So 8.46, let's write that. 8.46. Then times 5. Times 5 like that. Okay. You see? So, ang 5, nandito yung decimal point. Ang 8.46 andun. Since this is multiplication, the only thing we are concerned about is that yung last digit nila ay magkapantay. That's it. Okay? And so, now, we multiply normally. Let's multiply. 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, so by now, you should already have memorized the multiplication table or at least familiarized ka na. And may ibang numbers ka na lang na hindi alam like 7, 8. Pero mostly, you should be practicing your um, multiplication table skills. 4 times 5 is 20 plus 3, 23. And then 8 times 5 is 40 plus 2 is 42. All right, so that's 4,230 if walang decimal points, if it's 846 times 5. But it is not 846 times 5, it is 8.46 times 5. So we're going to consider this decimal point. Okay. This number, 8.46, has two numbers in the decimal places. Or in the it has two decimal places. One in the tenths place and one in the hundredths place. Yung 5, wala naman. Okay? So, we're going to put here decimal places, okay, in equal number as the number of decimal places that these two factors have. So, ito may dalawang decimal places. Ito wala. When you add that, you'll have 2, right? And so this product should also have 2 decimal places. Okay, again, you can pause the video, return there to understand the explanation. But the answer here will be 42.30. That is the answer to that question. Okay, let's have another example. Let's have 23.85. Oh, in this case, both of them have decimal points. Okay, or decimal places. So as usual, we are going to just align the two fives, the last number, 23.85. And then we're going to write here 3.5. Then multiply. Okay, so since this is we're gonna multiply normally first. Okay, again, sa last step lang to nagkakaiba. So you see, we're gonna treat this as 2,385 times 35. Since we're multiplying by a two-digit number, we're going to have two lines of numbers here. First is dividing by 5. I'm multiplying by 5 only. So 5 times 5 is 25. Carry it up. The 2. 8 times 5. You have to make sure you have space on top of that because later you will be multiplying by 3 and you don't want to lose space there. It's going to be confusing. So make sure you have space there. 8 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40 plus 2, 42. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 4, 19. And then 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1, 11. So that's the first line of numbers by time multiplying to 5. Next, we multiply to 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. See, you're going to have to put 1 there. So kung wala kang space dyan, it's going to be a big headache for you. So make sure you have space on top when you are multiplying by many digit numbers. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 1, 25. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2, 11. And then 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1, 7. All right, then 5, 7, 14. You can add this pala. 14, 3, and then 8. All right, now's the time that we count the decimal places. This has 2 decimal places. This number, 3.5, has 1 decimal place. And so 2 plus 1, yes, it's 3. So it should have 3 decimal places. It's 5, 7, and 4. Tatlo. So we're going to put the decimal point here. You can exaggerate the decimal point para kitang-kita siya. You can exaggerate it. Okay? So that is how we multiply. That's how we multiply decimals. All right? Best thing to do there is to practice, practice, practice. Once again, okay? Talo ng masipag ang matalino. So kasipagan po. All right. So that is multiplication of decimals. But before we end, I'm just going to give you one more example of that. An interesting example. Search for one interesting example. Wala dito. Interesting example. Number. All right. So how about if it wants you to multiply? The question wants you to multiply 3 numbers. How do you do that? Okay. Now, in this case, the simplest way is to multiply it 1 by 1. Okay? Multiply it 1 by 1. So you pick 2 of those numbers and then you multiply them. So that's the easiest way. Right? So in our case, let's just write 6.5 times 2.3 first, and then later we'll multiply the product by 8.2. Okay, let's multiply 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, pretty simple because it's just 2 digits, and then 19, 10, and 9. I mean 13. Okay, so that's going to be 5, 9, 4, and 1. With 2 decimal places, because there's 1 and 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. This 9.5 will be decimal places. So 14.95, that is what we're going to multiply with 8.2. Okay, we multiply with 8.2. Let's multiply by 2 first, so that's 10. That's 18 plus 1, 19. That's 8 plus 1, 9. That's 2. And then 40. 72 plus 4, 76. 4 times 8 is 32 plus 9, 30. Yeah, 32 plus 7 is 9. And then 32 plus 7 is 39. 1 times 8 is 8 plus 3, 11. Alright, now's the time we add all of those wonderful stuff together. 0, 9, 15, 12, 2, and then 1. Alright, so counting time of the decimals. There are 2 decimal places here. There's 1 there, so we're going to put the last 3 as decimal places. We will have 122.59. Okay, so we can rewrite the answer as 122.59 since the 0 here has no value. Okay, so that is how we multiply decimals. Again, you can rewind this video to watch that all over again and you knock yourself out. But the best way to learn that is to do it yourself. I'm gonna put the pages there in the description box below. If you have questions, comment down below or i-PM nyo ako about your questions. If you're stuck in a particular question, take a picture of it, send it to me, and we will be talking about uh, division in the next video. So I will see you all soon. Goodbye, and don't forget to subscribe.